Trump's tariffs have been welcomed by great disappointment across the board. The Indian Commerce Minister has just announced that they are expediting the rollout of the export promotion mission. While countries like Japan and Australia, which are also our Quad partners besides the United States, have criticized the tariffs, the Democrats too have called out Trump for singling out India and sabotaging the US-India relationship. Breaking news also coming in. Donald Trump's top economic advisor has warned that if India fails to curb its Russian crude trade, the US president will not ease his stance on Washington's punitive tariffs on Indian imports. US National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett called trade negotiations with New Delhi complicated, as he accused India of, intransigence in opening its markets to American products. Hassett said that trade negotiations with India were complicated, claiming part of it has been tied to the pressure we've been trying to put on Russia in order to secure a peace deal and save millions of lives. And then there's the Indian intransigence about opening their markets to our products. Linking India-US trade negotiations to a marathon, Hassett said talks require a long-term outlook and acceptance of ebbs and flows before New Delhi and Washington reach the final position. Let's listen in to what he said.
I think that it is a complicated relationship, that it's integrated some with the problems that we're trying to put extra pressure on Russia so that we can get a peace deal to save millions of lives, and the Indian intransigence about opening their markets to our products. And so I think that when you're looking at trade negotiations, one thing I think we've all learned is that you need to keep your eyes on the horizon and recognize that there are going to be ebbs and flows in things before we reach the final position. And if the Indians don't budge, I don't think President.
All right, before we in fact move on to our guests, let me quickly rope in my colleague Manohar Kesri, who's joining us on the broadcast. Manohar, सरकार किस तरीके की एक तरह से अभी कोशिश कर रही है उन लोगों को, उन ट्रेडर्स को मनाने के लिए जिनके ऊपर इस टैरिफ को लेकर सबसे गहरा असर आने वाला है?
देखिए, आज ही असर देखने को मिल रहा है इसे लेकर के। अगर आप देखेंगे तो सरकार और कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री, फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री, जो भी एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं, उन सबको एक साथ मिला करके एक लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग की जा रही है। हालांकि शॉर्ट टर्म में लोगों को नुकसान होगा, सरकार भी कह रही है कि इसका इम्पैक्ट देखने को मिलेगा, लेकिन जो भी एक्सपोर्टर्स हैं उनको जो है सो विश्वास में लेते हुए उन्हें आश्वासन दिया गया है कि केंद्र सरकार, मोदी सरकार उनके साथ खड़ी है। दूसरी बात यह है कि आज देखिए किस तरह से कॉटन को लेकर के सरकार की ओर से एक बड़ा कदम उठाया गया है। फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री ने कहा है कि जो भी एग्जेम्पशन था वो एग्जेम्पशन अगले 3 महीने के लिए बढ़ा दी गई है। कहने का मतलब यह है कि कॉटन पर जो कस्टम ड्यूटी या इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी हम कहें 11% छूट 11% थी, और लगातार विरोध करने के बाद या मांग करने के बाद सरकार ने 30 सितंबर तक उसको एग्जेम्प्ट किया था, लेकिन अब जब 50% टैरिफ की लगा दी गई है तो इसके बाद जो है उन्हें 31 दिसंबर 2025 तक जो है तो ये बढ़ा दिया गया। इससे सीधा असर उन एक्सपोर्टर पर पड़ेगा, इंपोर्टर पर पड़ेगा जो कॉटन को अमेरिका से खरीदता है, क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे तो 95% जो कॉटन जो इंपोर्ट होता है इंडिया, फिर जो एक्सपोर्टर्स होते हैं उसी को प्रोसेस करके अमेरिका भेज दिया जाता है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में भारत जो है तो बहुत बड़ा इंपोर्टर है कपास का। तो ऐसे में केंद्रीय कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री पीयूष गोयल की ओर से भी आश्वासन दिया गया है। उन्होंने कहा है कि सरकार जो है पूरी ध्यान दे रही है, सारी चीजों को देख रही है, और
in the meantime, I also in fact want to rope in our guests who are joining us at this point in time. Prateek Som, national spokesperson for the JJP and a senior lawyer, is with us on the program. Mr. Shirish Korada, CEO of Binds, is also joining us. Prateek, what has been your overall assessment and worry, if there is any, when it comes to these tariffs? Of course, India is going to try and navigate this through a lot of creative modules and means. We have partners in Southeast Asia, we have Russia, we have other countries. We just struck a deal with the UK as well when it comes to an FTA. But the fact of the matter is that 50 to 70 billion worth of odd trade happens with the Americans. Can that actually be deflected to other markets? And can this consumption be also brought out from within the country?
Yeah, Vineet, in my opinion, when two world's largest democracy get into a tariff war, no one wins. It's actually a loss for both of the nations. It's a loss that the consumers on the both side lose, the producers on the both side lose, and you miss out on the larger perspective when the world is talking about the clean energy, the China's the trade dominance, and on these fronts when when we are talking about the clean energy and the impact of AI on both of the countries, getting into this unwarranted situation, I think it is going to damage both of the nations. If we'll see the successful negotiation which has happened in with US, I was seeing the chart today. With India and Brazil, it is 50%, but with UK, it is 10%. So we are seeing that the negotiations are playing a major role in this. I feel that the present situation is less is it is the present situation is less about economics and it is more about the political posturing. So we have to be conscious of the fact that if the political posturing becomes too extreme, then it is going to have a both side effect on both the nations. Other thing which I want to talk on this is that the major areas which are going to be impacted is rather narrower. So a report says that the recent today's report says that it is more of a sector specific trade war, but not at a blanket a trade among all the sectors. So if we talk about exports, the blanket export tariff is not going to increase, but there are specific sectors which will have to bear the brunt. But the statement from the trade secretary of the US is a welcoming step that they're open for negotiations, and I think the diplomacy and diplomatic channels are only going to be the solution in this kind of situation.